Hey friends, I'm back and I took a week off. Granted, it was a few weeks, but yeah, I just needed some time to shift, to ride this wave of this kind of tumultuous energy that everyone's experiencing collectively in their own way. For me, it's a little different. This time of year is usually pretty helpful. It comes with its challenges, but I'm going to get into that in a minute. I'm going to talk about the Lionsgate portal, but before we get started, just want to cleanse the space. I hope everyone is finding these messages to be helpful. I hope you find something that resonates with you. And if it's your first time here, checking out my page or seeing what I have to say, I'm a storyteller, and my stories are typically long winded, which is why I moved over to YouTube to share those extended versions of things that I tend to shorthand in person and in readings. So before we get into it, I'm just going to shift. Okay. Might do another cleanse in a little while, but we'll start there. So it is the Lionsgate portal. You may have heard the buzzword, you may not have, and that's totally fine too. But if you've had a solar return or a new year reading with me, it's a year spread for the tarot or through tarot. I often talk about the Lionsgate portal around this time of year or during August, um, because it's a potent time energetically. And if you haven't had a reading from me, maybe you've attended a workshop, a ritual, anything that I've hosted in the past that was around this time, I am sure to share the news because it is a time that can be energetically disorienting because from where I'm sitting, so much change happens in such a short amount of time that it can feel like, I've been using this example, like you're floating through space anti-gravitationally. You are not in a ship, you're just in your spacesuit. So there's no way to like ground or anchor or figure out which way is up. Now, the reason why that energy comes through the Lionsgate portal is got layers to it. It's got some ancient symbolism and some current trends or symbolism as well. They overlap in a strange way. So we're talking ancient Egypt, we're talking numerology, we're talking new age spirituality with like angel numbers and things like that. And we're talking kind of like, I would say paganism in a way, if you detach the, what's the word I'm looking for? If you detach the common understanding of paganism and just view it as honoring the seasons and understanding the cycles in nature and working with them in an energetic or spiritual way, that's what I mean by paganism, rather than like witchcraft or anything Celtic or anything like that. So if you're looking at it from all these different angles, it can seem overwhelming or confusing. So I'm going to break it down and then just share a few things about how it has affected or changed my life. And maybe those little nuggets of wisdom and anecdotes will help you understand what's happening with you. Maybe not. We'll see. So, the Lionsgate portal is often honored on 8/8, August 8th, because the number 8 looks like an infinity symbol sideways. And so there's this energy of abundance that people are often associating it with. Now, Lammas and Lunasa, I think I said that correctly, are both sort of holidays, for lack of a better word, in early Christian or pagan Christian and I'm going to say Celtic, but I know that it's more than that, practices where you're honoring the harvest. So it's already an abundant time of year. Spring has already happened, summer things have been in full bloom and ready to pick, food is ripe and ready. So it is an abundant time of year, period. With it being honored on 8/8, it has to do with not just the numerology of that, but the ancient Egypt connotation or connection is that it has that same abundance energy because it corresponds to the flooding of the Nile, which represented abundance. So how that played out, it was around like a 3 week period, which is how we honor it now, not just on 8/8. So like late July to mid August. Basically, the star Sirius, Sirius, is associated with the goddess Isis. Isis tends to represent quite a few things, but transformation is her claim to fame. And the star Sirius would disappear from the sky around May. Simultaneously in ancient Egypt, that's when the droughts would come, which meant famine, they'd start running out of food. And so it was kind of like a dark time or the underworld, if you will. And then late summer or end of July, beginning of August is how we're experiencing it now. The star Sirius would rise with the sun. They call that a heliacal rising, right? So once the star Sirius and the sun are rising at dawn together, that was a sign that the rains were going to come, that the food was going to grow. And sure enough, it did. So in ancient Egypt, this was a big deal. This time of year meant abundance, renewal, rebirth, and all these gorgeous energies that we tend to associate with springtime. That doesn't mean that it's not valid here. There is some overlap. Excuse me. Moving some energy. So, with the star Sirius being nicknamed the spiritual sun, you kind of get this energy of like, oh, there's something more important happening here. It's not just about the food and the water. It's more so about the energy of that transition or that transformation. Now you've got Isis associated with that, and then the agricultural goddess in ancient Egypt. Her name is Sopdet, Sopdet, and she's the goddess of the harvest and things like that. So she also has some importance here. Now you have that happening. And then you fast forward thousands of years to present day, and we're like 8/8, abundance, Lionsgate portal, Leo season, go off. Let's all do fire rituals and dance and sing and celebrate. But it can also be a really challenging time for people with Leo placements because it's the end of a 52-day cycle. Now, there's another system, I'll call it. I don't quite know the name, but there's this system of divination. It kind of has a numerological correspondence as well. And it's a recognition that there are 7 52-day cycles in the year, which would be 364. And then the 365th day would be sort of the day of rest before the cycle restarts. Now, this is a personal way to navigate time. And your 52-day cycle starts on your birthday, not on the new year, not during Lionsgate portal or anything like that. But if you are a Leo, this is sort of the ending and beginning for you, which is why this time of year could be kind of challenging. For a Capricorn like me, it has been transformative in a beneficial way because it lands in my 5th 52-day cycle, which just so happens to have this correspondence to abundance in its own right. Now, how that showed up in my life is very interesting because I'm often, I may have mentioned this before, noticing patterns or understanding how things sort of overlap in different systems. And I was exploring, like, how does this match my astrology? It kind of doesn't, and that's okay. It doesn't have to. Not everything has to match Western astrology. But because I'm landing in this 5th cycle that feels very abundant and transformative, what happens for me this time of year, and I've only noticed it since I started my business in the last 6 years, is something about where I'm running my business, like the physical location, seems to change. In 2020, I was just downloading what it meant to run or start a business. So I was still very much in the idea phase, the learning phase. I think by this time of year in 2020, I had signed up for a yoga teaching certification, which gave me the idea that, oh, I would be teaching at a yoga studio very soon, which didn't totally pan out at that time. In 2021, I think that's when I really committed to what I was putting into practice. So it was yoga and Reiki at that time. And I think I had just finished or was in the middle of my Akashic coaching program that I was learning how to read the Akashic records during this time in 2021, which energetically, that's a new space. Akashic means space, loosely in Sanskrit. And so it was like, oh, okay, I'm operating from a totally different energetic space rather than physical one. Now, 2022, I started working at farmers markets and other pop-ups. That was very much trending at the time. We were sort of coming out of the pandemic. People were honing skills that they developed while they had all this time off, stepping into their purposes like I was. And so I started doing markets in 2022, February. By August, I got into the Midtown Farmers Market in Sacramento, which is like the biggest market. It has become quite the monster in really great ways. But it was in August that I transitioned. I actually got into the Midtown Farmers Market, and I've been there ever since. Let's see, 2022. I think that's also when I started offering readings at this cute shop called Superbum. And I told myself I'd be there for a year and then just see how it goes. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Simultaneously, I also started teaching yoga at my friend's studio, The Vault, this women's fitness space. It's gorgeous in energy and community. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm cooking on 3 burners. I'm everywhere all at once. 2023, during the Lionsgate portal, I decided to leave Superbum because the woman I was collaborating with, who I'm still collaborating with, Tiffany, what's up, girl? She has space in her studio, and so I officially moved in August 2023 and stopped teaching yoga at the Vault because that was a fun experiment too. And so I've been in safe space bodywork with Tiffany ever since. 2024, this is fun. I can't really remember now. Blanking on 2024. Yep, totally blanking on that. And then fast track to this year. I've been in my business for a while. It's kind of like found a groove. I feel good where I'm at. I know that it's eternally growing energetically and learning and experiencing. But I had no plans on moving where I'd offer my services. And then at the farmers market, they decided to change the entire layout of the market. And lo and behold, the very first day they put us in our new positions, it was August 1st, right in the middle of the Lionsgate portal. So for me, that was a really good transition. I didn't notice at the time that that was going to be the case until last week. And I was like, oh, it's all clicking. This is the time of year that I usually change venues or shift how I'm running my business in some way. And it's been really beneficial for me. Does it come with a lot of mystery and topsy-turvy energy and feeling like I am not driving the car of my life? A little bit. Feels like Jesus is taking the wheel here and there. But overall, it's been very, very much a milestone of growth and recognizing that it's time for me to do something different or do it in a different way. And so this time of year, I invite that energy in. Now, I've been in lots of conversations with all the Leos and prominent Leo placements in my life. And y'all know there are a lot of you in my life. And it it's challenging to watch you experience mm, sort of the not so pleasant, unpredictable frequencies that are coming through as well at this time. This is a really powerful time to be alive, period. Um, we are going through a massive energetic shift, and a lot of us can see it, a lot of us can feel it, a lot of us are avoiding it, and a lot of us are holding space for it. And I'm mostly just observing everyone else and myself as we go through these challenges and these changes. And so I'm here to just offer something different. And I'm realizing I missed a part of that story, that not only was I changing venues, but I was also changing my offerings. So around this time of year, I get new ideas and I start creating new events, like I did a couple years ago. Started the New Moon Circle, the plant medicine meditation, and transitioned tarot and tea from a winter offering to a monthly offering during this time of year. And decided last year, or got the first message last year, that Radical Ritual was coming to an end around this time of year, but I didn't know what was next, so I kept it going. Only to my dismay, and realized that I just really love that offering and the universe doesn't want me to do it anymore. I also got the message around this time last year about stepping into a role of calling myself a high priestess. Okay, imposter syndrome. How do I do that? I do feel like I am, and I have started a coven, and it's all just been, again, very experimental, but it didn't come to fruition. It didn't come into being until February. So I'm just watching as the energy shifts and sort of engaging with it and being in community with it and in conversation with it, because it's going to keep going. And I'd rather be present than either miss something or feel left behind or feel like I'm just drowning in it. Okay, so in order to move this energy along, ease us into this transition, I am going to pull some cards for the collective. By collective, I mean anyone who resonates with what I'm doing, who I am, what I'm saying, what messages are coming through. We are all coming into a remembrance that we're all connected, we are all one, that love is it. It's the end all be all, the divine frequencies that help us shift into a more higher vibrational experience on this planet. And so I'm going to pull some cards just to help us navigate. There's still about 9 days left, 8 days left, about a week left of the Lionsgate portal. And then we have the eclipse portal opening up right after that. So we have an eclipse, I believe, on the 12th or 13th, and then another eclipse on the 27th. And eclipses, in the same way the line portal can feel, I call it an energetic slip and slide, because there's typically some kind of life lesson that kind of takes center stage in your life. And it all depends on, astrologically this time, what sign the eclipses are happening in and where those signs are in your chart. And if you don't know what time you're born, it's hard to pinpoint, but it will still show up in your life in whatever way it's meant to. So we will be having an eclipse. I believe it's a south node eclipse in, oh, I can't remember, Pisces or Virgo, because we're ending that chapter, and a North Node eclipse in Leo. We are starting a chapter. So it's just a transitional time this entire month. I just want everyone to know that you got to strap in to this wild ride to really make space to ground. I know it's a fiery time of year, so it feels very active, and um, it feels almost overstimulating because it's the end of summer. We're trying to squeeze in all the fun before school starts. Even if you don't have kids in school, even if you're not in school, that energy still sort of kicks in because Virgo season is very studious and very grounded. So I feel like Leo season is kind of like the end of the party. We're revving really hard. It's like that one last shot, or I'm gonna dance really hard until the DJ ends. So I'm just gonna pull some cards on how to navigate this overstimulating transitional energy, and hopefully it'll bring you some peace. All right. We got the Ace of Wands, just jumped out of the deck, right on par with what I was sharing. I think I want 2 more cards. Oh, got a lot more. We'll pull from these and see what happens. But to start, we got the Ace of Wands. And the Ace is a new chapter. It's number 1, so it's your relationship to yourself. And it lands in fire. Wands represents fire, and fire is creativity, passion, inspiration, willpower, and drive. And so much more. But when you get the Ace of Wands, it's those creative ideas, it's that spark. You've got the sun in the background to really like bring that fiery energy home. But we're in a new chapter. This is the universe asking us all to do it different, to imagine it different, to visualize it different, to put our fire towards something simple, as in pure, as in a fresh new idea, or something that doesn't feel convoluted or complex. Because when you get too much fire, it feels like burnout, and this is that exciting fire of inspiration. And that feels like the main message. So I'm going to pull from the cards that jumped out. I'm going to go with this. Ooh, yeah, this is what I've been talking about. 5 of Pentacles. So you got 5s, which are another number of transition or challenge or change. And Pentacles representing earth energy. So that's material wealth and physical health, your relationship to your body, home, nature, work, and money. And on the card, you have 2 people. They look a little sad. They're going through something. They're walking towards the light, but they haven't quite made it there. And above them are 5 pentacles that are glowing in maybe a window. I mean, traditionally, this card has 2 people. One's on crutches. They're walking through the snow, and they're right outside a church. So the idea is, as you're challenged in your body, in your money, at home, in any way, in your relationship to nature, all of you need to be going outside and putting your hands in dirt right now. The fire is too fiery. But when you get this card, it's a call to ask for help. And I think the bigger message here is that we have forgotten that we are communal beings. I say this every week when I'm doing readings for people. We are communal beings. These people who are usually outside of a church, the church symbolizes a whole congregation or community that they could go lean on in their times of trouble or challenge or transition. And we tend to forget to ask. So go ask for help, especially when it comes to material wealth and physical health. Do not isolate, and go outside without your phone. Connect to the planet. Okay. Let's see. Move your body. That's another one. Ooh, Queen of Swords. This is fun. Okay, Queen of Swords. She is typically, and in this deck, I think it's the same case. I could be wrong. But she's typically the only queen or king facing the side rather than facing front. And the idea is that there's an emphasis on her ear because she's here for listening. The queen, being in a position of power and leadership in a feminine way, is asking you to step into your power in a feminine way. So that's in an internal, embodied way. Because her ear is facing you, and she's the queen of swords, swords representing the element of air, and air being your mindset, mental health, communication, fighting for your truth, could be a new course of study, or even your intuition or intellect versus intuition. She is asking you to sit quietly long enough so you can hear the messages that are coming through, because your intuition, your guides, your higher self, all of this energy is coming through, and most of us are just like turned off to it. We don't slow down enough to hear it. And I know that I'm communicating this through technology right now, and you're watching this on a variation of a social media platform. But truly, take heed of this message, go sit down, maybe outside, and listen, because there's something coming through that you're not hearing. And that's when we need to listen the hardest. And that just means slowing down enough so that you can parse through, understand, recognize what your higher self, your guides, whoever's guiding you is trying to communicate. Period. Do one more card. The sun, right on time. Okay. And then we have the sun, which is gorgeous in this deck. I really enjoy the artwork in this deck. The sun card, she's number 19. She's 2 cards away from the end of a massive cycle. We're also, just astrologically, we're in Leo season. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun in astrology is your sun sign. That's your core personality, or like who you are in your formative years. So the sun essentially is about yourself in a way. Now on the card, you have this magical creature, and she is being lit up by the sun behind her. And usually it's a child on a horse, which represents a sense of like peace and freedom. Usually they're waving a red flag. In this case, she's wearing like a red cape or something like that. And there's usually a playfulness to this card. This deck is a little more moody, so the playfulness kind of is just evoked through the style of art. But this card is asking you, because it is a light source, a luminary, it's asking you to turn on your light. Turn on your light within. Whatever that means to you, turn it on. And I say that because the next card in succession is the Judgment Day card, a collective ascension. So this is asking you to like kind of take a little sneak peek, do your own little miniature enlightenment before this collective shift happens. Like you gotta get in on it. You know what I'm saying? So the sun card coming through during Leo season, during the Lionsgate portal, very appropriate. And it's the only major arcana card that came up in the reading. To get the sun card, I feel like the Ace of Wands, these two are talking to each other. This feels like very similar energy because there's a freshness. With the Ace, it's a new chapter. And with the sun, because it usually is also corresponding to like your inner child. Just because there's no child on there doesn't mean that sense of playfulness or the literal translation of a child doesn't count. There's just this newness, this freshness, like kind of like the purity of fire or the lovely side of fire. So really leaning into this energy from an openness of what's coming through, what messages you're receiving, who you're being guided by, and actually trusting rather than second guessing when those messages come through. And knowing that a lot of physical challenges come with this. Kid you not, these solar flares, that's a whole nother rabbit hole if you want to go down. You can go down this rabbit hole on YouTube if you want, or we could talk about it. I might save it for another video. But long story short, the sun gives off these crazy electromagnetic frequencies. They shoot through space, hit the earth sometimes. It usually takes 2 to 3 days. Sometimes these solar storms or solar flares are so intense that they're rated just like we would rate earthquakes. Sometimes they become so intense that they're called coronal mass ejections, and they temporarily leave a hole in the sun, a black hole, if you will. So that energy flows to the earth, hits the earth. We are all electromagnetic beings. The earth is an electromagnetic being, or we're magnetic and the sun is electric. You can break it down however you want. But our frequency and the earth's frequency are all being disrupted by those solar flares temporarily. But when there's multiple solar flares in a row, we are going through deep spiritual awakenings. We're going through dark nights of the soul. We're getting inspired. Some of us are getting turned on. Some of us are getting really lethargic and beaten up and having to move all that energy through the physical body. So if you've been having a hard time physically, I tend to honor that, downshift. The world is not go, go, go just because capitalism said so. So give yourself a day off, play hooky, rest, chill, don't feel guilty about it. Step into your soft girl era because it's worth it, and it's totally meant to. The universe wants us to enjoy, not to overwork. And I learned that the hard way, and I learned that I've learned to rest over the last 6 years because sometimes that was my only option. And I'm still here, and I'm still doing what I'm doing, and it's working. So those are my words of wisdom. I hope you enjoyed our little chat. I hope you can navigate this time with a little more ease and a little more presence. Thus spoke the Queen of Swords. And in the meantime, if you are local to Sacramento and you want to connect with me in a different way, on the 8th, 8/8, I'm hosting a spell jar workshop or spell jar ritual where we will be setting intentions to either create or release. And I will supply all the things and guide you into making your own magic. And we'll be creating these spell jars together in a very witchy way. Outside of that, the next big event I have coming up that I'm hosting is a retreat in Baja at the end of October. I'm partnering with Tiffany from Safe Space Bodywork. We are hosting our 4th retreat in Mexico. This feels like really crazy to say. Pinch me, is it real? Yes, this is my life. It's so cool. But yeah, we're hosting our 4th plant medicine retreat in Todos Santos at the end of October for Dia de los Muertos. So if you wanted to have that experience, if you want to work with plant medicine, if you want to go on a travel retreat with safe people in a small and intimate setting, there's usually 3 to 7 attendees, so less than 10 people total. All your meals are provided. Everything is gorgeous. It's a lovely experience. It's so expansive. Maybe I'll talk about it in the next video. But if you're curious, check out my website, message me. I'd love to talk to you about it. We do have 1 spot left. And so it would be, I don't know, so transformational for those who are ready to do the work or those who need a reset. We're talking neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, the medicine that we're using. And yeah, I'm excited about that. So yeah, those are the 2 things I have on my calendar that I'm hosting. I am participating in a few other events where you can catch me at. In September, another retreat where I will be offering my services, tarot, Reiki, Akashic readings at a yoga retreat called Moving Deep, put on by a lovely woman named Carissa in Lotus, California. That'll be the 3rd weekend of September. And then I will also be vending at Chalk It Up. Chalk It Up being the chalk arts weekend extravaganza that Sacramento does every year during Labor Day weekend. Okay, beautiful people. I will catch you later. Mwah.